Hello, I'm Gabrielle, and in this video, I'm going to tell you why menopause is changing how you run, why what you're doing now isn't working, and what the gaps are in your training. These are the things that you're not doing now that hold the key to running faster, to running further, to feeling stronger, more powerful, and more resilient to injury with fewer niggles. And these are big claims, and I don't care because when you start to understand that big picture, and where those gaps are and why what you're doing now isn't working, you'll start to realize that what I'm saying is true. And this is science. It's not just me, some random person, just with my opinion. We're in a position now where we actually really do understand scientifically how menopause is changing our bodies, how it's impacting our run, and how to train and how to eat to reverse this process. So let's have a look at how menopause is affecting how we run. We probably know by now that we're losing muscle, and that means we're losing strength, but we're also losing power. And that's much less talked about. And we actually start losing power sooner and to a greater degree. And this is essential for runners. Menopause also affects our tendon structure and its elasticity. And this is why many of us suffer with tendon issues now, which we really want to avoid. And I'm very much in the camp of having gone through this because they really take so long to rehab. We might be experiencing muscle aches and stiffer joints. Again, this is part of the inflammation and the change in synovial fluid in the joints that causes this. We can experience poor breathing and fatigue. And this is a combination of decreasing VO2 max, so we're just getting less fitter. We can have stiffer and less elastic lungs, which is again to do with that change in estrogen. And even worsening posture, as we saw collapsing when we're running, we're not being able to access and use our breathing muscles properly. Something we really don't think about is how our proprioception and motor skills are changing because they're starting to decline. Now, these are really important when we run because this is how we sense where our body is. This is how we control moving over uneven ground and sort of steering our way around things. You can start to notice that you feel more clumsy, less balanced, less agile. I noticed I had to really think about picking my feet up. It just didn't seem automatic anymore. And I could feel that my feet felt more clumsy and stompy when I was running. A lot of women experience increased body fat, and that's part of a change in metabolism, which is due to less muscle. We can become more insulin resistant. Our gut microbiome changes. That's linked to changing body composition. We can have more cravings, which makes us eat more. We're more susceptible and more affected by stress. And when we're in a stress state, our body holds on to fat and burns muscle. And even training too hard and eating too little can cause this, which is something that a lot of us maybe try and do if we want to change the body fat and lose weight, but it doesn't work. And this is why. We become less efficient at burning fat and glucose. This is the fuel that we need when we're running. And this is why we can feel like we're just not firing on all cylinders like we used to, because we're not. And it's not just hormones that are changing things, it's also muscle imbalances. And this is a time process more than anything. If you think about it, we all develop them from our lifestyle, simply from being sat down for long periods of time and not moving fully. And even the fact that we're runners exacerbates this because it's very repetitious. And what this means in practice is some muscles start to become overworked and tight, and others become what we call inhibited, which means they're not working like they should. And over time, they start to become weaker. And how does this affect us day to day? Well, if you start to get tighter here because you're always doing this and always got your shoulders up because you're stressed, these muscles start to get stretched and weaker, and that's going to affect our posture. When we're sat forward all the time and running a lot, we can find that our quads get tight, our hip flexors get tight. And when this happens, our glutes become inhibited and don't work, and our hamstrings. So this is how these sorts of things start to build up over time. If you think when you're running, you've got lots of muscles in your body that all need to be working together to make you run well. Whereas we're not using all of those muscles evenly. We're working fewer muscles harder, and that's creating more strain and more fatigue on those muscles that are doing more than they should. And this is where injury comes in. Now, none of this gets better if we don't tackle it. unfortunately. This is our change in hormones. It's the passing of time. But the fantastic news is that we have some really powerful things that we can use now, and that's the right type of exercise and the right type of diet. This makes a huge difference and can literally reverse and slow down these changes, however old you are right now. So why is what you're doing now not working? If you just find that your running's getting harder, so do more running, well, that actually isn't bringing anything new into the equation. It won't build any new muscle. It won't train power. It won't improve your VO2 max. It's not going to improve your body composition. We see that, drives us mad, but it's true. Now, a lot of people also do strength training. That was my background. I came to running strong and I still had problems with tendon issues. And this is because strength training on its own isn't always enough. It needs to be specific to running. If we're strength training to be better, stronger, faster runners, then we need to be doing exercises that are designed to do that for us. And not every workout that you do in the gym is going to do that. Strength training on its own doesn't train power. It doesn't necessarily train tendons in the right way. And it doesn't train our motor skills and our body awareness when we're moving. And we know that this is really important as runners. Strength training tends to focus on the main or the large muscles, and these are important too. But what's happening now in our bodies is these little small muscles that are in our feet, in our hips, in our core, in our scapula, holding our posture, helping us control our running, aren't being trained very often in the gym. And these muscles have a huge impact on our ability to run correctly and run well. In the gym as well, if you think about it, we're in static positions to isolate muscles so that we're stable and we can lift heavier and heavier weights. But running is dynamic. We're not building strength through movement, and that's what we need when we run. Because there's a difference between able to work your glutes in the gym. I could lift 100 kilos on a glute thrust, but it wasn't translating to me being able to use them properly on my run or for the full duration of our run. So we need to bridge this gap between what we're doing in the gym and actually then using these muscles when we're running. That's really important. A lot of people look at doing yoga and Pilates, and these are fantastic exercises in their own right. They're good for core strength, they're good for flexibility, they're good for mobility. But let's look at the gaps again in running. That yoga and Pilates won't train power. It won't create enough resistance to build the strength that you need for running. And it's not going to train your tendons to withstand running or change the way you metabolize fuel. So the big gaps in what we're doing is we're not building running specific strength. We're not building power. We're not training our tendons to become stronger, more elastic, more resilient to injury. We're not training to increase our VO2 max, which is a key longevity predictor that we really don't want to let go. We're not activating and strengthening those small forgotten muscles and learning how to use them, not just in the gym when we're exercising for a few minutes, but for the full duration of our run. We're not firing our metabolism up. We're not doing things that we know are going to reduce our insulin resistance. And we're not feeding ourselves in the right way that supports our training and our recovery and helps us to build muscle and burn fat. So these are the gaps. And if we want to change our progress, change our body composition, then we need to have a training program that does all of these things. And this is what my one-to-one Run Stronger coaching program does. You might think it sounds like a huge change from how you train now, and it's going to take you more time, but I promise you it won't. What we're going to be doing is making sure that all the things we do prioritize your running. We're going to be using your time strategically and doing the things that are going to move the dial, that are going to mean that you're training strength, you're training power, you're taking care of your tendons, and you're fueling your training, and you're going to get faster, you're going to get stronger, be able to run further, have more energy, recover better, improve your body composition. And by the end of this 4 months, more than that, you're going to have a deeper understanding of how your body works and how to get the best out of it. And not just then, but for life. You'll have the knowledge, you'll have the new habits that will last you a lifetime and keep you running exactly how you want for as long as you choose to do that. So I take on a small number of clients each month, and if you want to apply for one of those places, just click on the link below. We'll have a chat, I'll tell you more, and we'll be able to take it from there. So I hope to see you soon.